Christmas here in these gorgeous Yorkshire moors. So, I know this is officially the... No, that's rubbish. Too pawsy.
Have worked out there is a way to tell how good a Christmas you're having.
Oh, okay.
Now you're interested now, aren't you?
I'm interested.
One of the things that I found, which really surprised me, was that... No, that's all utter tripe.
You can judge it by the amount of Hallmark Christmas movies that you watched in the festive period.
Oh, aren't they marvellous?
Didn't give myself enough space to say the line.
Good.
Just fluffing my branches.
Beyond the Yorkshire Dales lies the North York Moors National Park. This is the landscape that I really can't... No, there's the landscape.
Welcome, everybody, to the Bakery Bears video show, and guess what?
It's nearly Christmas.
It is. That is so exciting. Are you excited?
Are you excited?
Well, you should be.
It's just a week. A week till Christmas.
And what's the perfect thing to get us in even more of an excited frame of mind? Well, I shall tell you.
Okay.
Because today, Walking the Dales is back, except it's not, because we're not walking the Dales, we're walking the moors. This is a walk which my family's been undertaking for generations. It's got a really cool story that's, related very close to me, but also what I just didn't realise was this is a walk which Kay and I have done so many times.
We have.
And
we love it. I love it. It's a great walk.
We've taken pattern shots there.
We have.
The Nutkin socks for one, I'm sure.
The Nutkin socks, the Philosopher's Cowl, which is behind me actually. The Philosopher's Cowl was taken there because I thought it looked like the Black Lake.
It does. It is really one of our... It's like perfect. You can go any time of year and it's just wonderful.
And it's very family friendly. You can just walk around the lake if you wanted to, around the reservoir.
Yeah.
I say lake, I mean it's not really a lake,
It's
is
fine.
it? Reservoir. Or you can do what Dan did and go a bit more kind of,
So
cross country.
Later on in the show, we're going to be breaking some new ground in a whole new area because, I think, and this is often the case where you go somewhere which has like this great big amazing thing which attracts your attention. It's a bit like York.
Yeah.
You can go to York and you can get sort of sucked in completely by the Minster, or maybe by the walls,
or the shambles,
and you can miss so much of the other amazing stuff. And the North York Moors National Park, do you know what? It was so wonderful to go and do a really good walk there because it really connected me with my past and made me very excited for the future. And I'm not going to tell you much more about that until we get on the walk, but we've got a very special announcement coming at the end of the Walking the Moors special later on in the show. Now, Newsflash. Officially, I have worked out there is a way to tell how good a Christmas you're having.
Oh, okay.
Now you're interested now, aren't you?
I'm interested.
All the years that you've been,
Get ready, everybody.
You get to the end of the Christmas day, you get to the end of Christmas.
End of the Christmas.
And, you're trying to decide, aren't you? Was it a good Christmas? Have you done that before? I have.
Yeah, I suppose.
You do? How good a Christmas did we have? Well, I'm not sure. I wish I could quantify. Well, now I should tell you. You can judge it by the amount of Hallmark Christmas movies that you watched in the festive period.
Oh, aren't they marvellous?
And I can tell you that it works because I'm having a great Christmas and I've watched loads of them.
We've watched loads. We watched a great one yesterday.
Yes.
The Mistletoe Promise.
It was brilliant.
That was brilliant. Go and watch that one if you haven't.
It was surprisingly brilliant because...
For a Christmas movie, yeah.
I was expecting it to be rubbish. Yeah. Especially the way it started.
Do you know, when they're rubbish though, it makes them better, I think, doesn't it? But this one was really good.
Yes. You always know...
We were like, ooh, what's going to happen?
You know a really good Christmas movie because the music flows all the way through.
Yeah, there's that sort
never
of
stops.
Tinkly in the background, isn't it?
That if you start listening for it...
And it was constantly snowing in that film. And yet, on the ground, it seemed perfectly fine.
I've got to say, though, it looked excellent fake snow, unlike the other one that we watched.
Yeah.
Just in time for Christmas. You see,
Right.
we've watched that many.
Which was that one? Yeah, I know.
Just in Time for Christmas had William Shatner in it.
Oh, that was great. Yes, that was brilliant.
And what shone through in Just in Time for Christmas was the acting was actually really good.
It was pretty good.
From everybody.
Yeah, but the snow was bad.
No, that wasn't the one with the bad
Wasn't
snow.
it?
Christmas at Pemberley Manor.
Oh, now that was pretty terrible, that film, it's got to be said.
The snow in that one.
How many Pride and Prejudice references could they get into that film?
Well.
Did you write them down?
No.
Oh.
How many Pride and Prejudice references can loads of different production companies?
Loads.
Because we also watched Pride, Prejudice and Mistletoe. Do you know what? I think one of my favourite things about Christmas movies is the names of the characters.
Was that when she was actually Elizabeth Bennet?
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, come on, you can be a bit more imaginative, can't you, than just using her name.
He was William Darcy.
Yes.
But what I loved about the one that we just watched, the leading character's name was Elise Donner.
Yeah, Donna as in Donna Blitzen.
Yes.
Rudolph. Oh, you get it.
We got it.
Okay, right.
We didn't think it was referencing
What
a
was
kebab
his name,
cake.
though? Well, his name wasn't Festive. Oh, no, Nick. He was called Nick. They're all called Nick, aren't they? Nick or Nicholas. What was the Santa fella called? Was he Nicholas as well?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. You know that when there's an old guy with a white beard is going to be called Nick or Nicholas, and in that one actually he was Santa.
Yes.
He was actually Santa.
Yes.
I've enjoyed them all. They're great, aren't they? They're just brilliant.
Do you know what I love seeing? And it sounds soppy and it sounds silly, but I love seeing people. I sound like such an idiot. Like yesterday, that film we watched yesterday, what they portrayed really well was people finding, falling in love.
Oh, yeah, because I'm always like, kiss her, come on.
When they can properly portray it really well, then it's great.
Yeah,
because I think
they're so predictable. You know exactly what's going to happen, but that's part of the joy, isn't it, of them? I think
they are so predictable, but it's a wonderful thing to watch. Which is why when they don't work quite so well, you can sort of take a step back and laugh at them. The Mistletoe Promise, the one that we literally just watched yesterday, that we've spoken a lot about, I really think that they got it right.
Yeah.
I could just see. It just felt similar. I don't know. It felt similar to you and me.
Oh, it was not.
No. The way that.
You didn't hire me.
No, I didn't hire you, but we didn't expect to fall in love.
Well, no, who does? You don't wake up one morning and think I'm going to meet someone and fall in love today, do you?
You don't. But I don't think it's happened to everybody. I think that there's an awful lot of people it hasn't happened to.
Well, yeah, of
where
course.
it's like, it's like a thunderbolt.
Yes.
And you're like, whoa. Hold on a minute.
Yeah. No, not everybody. I'm sure not
this
everybody
is
has
pretty big.
Experienced that. Yeah.
And so, when you're watching a film and you're seeing those types of things happen, then I just think it's lovely. And it
is lovely.
It's so great at Christmas. They are wonderful.
They are.
And to think that it all stemmed from some cards.
Hallmark cards.
Yes.
Right.
I know, isn't that amazing? What an amazing journey that company's been on.
You forget that it's the same Hallmark.
I know.
Cards.
I know, it's marvellous. Now, speaking of Christmas, we are, of course, well into the Bakery Bears Advent Calendar
We are.
2020.
My
goodness, what an adventure we've been having.
Wow. And everybody's loving it. Thank you all so much for all your sort of positive feedback about it. It's just been fantastic.
Well, as it's Christmas, we have a few special treats for you today. But one of the little presents that you get to open at the end of the show is Kay's going to show you the progress so far.
Yes.
Because what we don't want to do is, because it's a mystery knit-along, we don't want to show the bits that haven't been done yet.
No.
But it just so happens that it's the perfect project to fold over so that you can't see the bits that haven't been done yet.
I can show you, so far, and I can hide what remains.
So we're going to get to see a little bit of the Christmastide Cowl. And remember, the Christmastide Cowl is the knit-along that people are doing on alternate days.
Yes.
It's part of the Bakery Bears Advent Calendar. And everybody, absolutely everybody who is a Bakery Bears patron on Christmas Eve 2020 will get this pattern.
Yeah.
So it's our first platinum pattern of 2021.
Yes.
My goodness, we all should be in spaceships.
We should,
or flying
shouldn't we?
cars.
I know.
And Kay's going to show it to us later on.
I will.
In the show.
I will.
Neil, before we crack on into what's on your needles,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the cascades.
Oh, right. You haven't finished it, have you?
No, I haven't. No. No, don't. No. Because we know I haven't finished it.
Oh.
Look,
Yeah.
I worked really hard on this.
He had a little problem.
Oh, no. That's another thing.
Oh, not that problem.
Not that problem.
Oh, I thought you meant the problem I had to fix for you.
Yeah, Kay fixed a serious problem.
That I didn't think I was going to be able to fix. I was like,
But she did.
What has he done?
It was a disaster.
I don't know
dropped
what I'm
2
going to
stitches,
do, and I don't
didn't
know what's
notice,
happened.
and then it was just awful. But she did it, and it was marvellous. And you'll see it when I finish it, which hopefully will be fairly imminent. The reason why I haven't finished it is because we've finished the decreases.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
knitting in the round,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
and now I have to start knitting flat.
I don't understand what's going on with this pattern. This is like the most complicated pattern ever. Why has he suddenly got to knit flat? I haven't looked at the pattern. I maybe need to read it and see if I can understand
You absolutely can, but
what she's getting at.
it's frustrating.
And we did get another ball of yarn as well. I just ordered another ball, and actually when I've compared them, it looks all right.
It's really frustrating because, you in every jumper I've ever done, when you get to this point, well, it's always easy.
Yeah. You're just decreasing, you're decreasing, aren't you, to the neck? But
We'll have a look.
yeah,
we'll find a way through.
We need to spend some
but
time on it. I'll be so glad when this project's done, honestly.
I
It's
took the
so
decision
complicated.
that it was going to just be too stressful with all the fun and games going on with Christmas, so I'm parking it until 2021.
Okay. Seems a good decision.
Hey, Kay's part way through the winter collection.
Yes.
We have met the wonderful Lotta and her gorgeous dog Stig.
Stig the dog.
And we showed you the first pattern last time.
Yes.
The first pattern was,
Snow
of course,
forest.
the gorgeous snow forest.
There's been some beautiful versions that I've seen. Gorgeous.
And the second pattern just came out just a few days ago, didn't it?
It did. Last Friday it came out.
And we're going to show it to you today.
I'll show it to you.
For the first time ever.
The next pair of socks then in the winter collection is Flurry. These socks are called Flurry. And here they are. I'll show you in a bit more detail when I take one off.
Newsflash.
Yes.
I'm about to finish the Fairywings.
Are you?
Yes, and then I'm going to knit those.
Are you going to knit these?
Yes.
You'll enjoy these.
I thought so.
Yeah, you will enjoy these.
Excellent.
So these socks, you've got a lovely panel here, which I'll show you in a bit more detail in a second, that runs down the front of the sock, and then going all around the leg and sort of bordering down here as well is this lovely snowflake, just a simple sort of little pearl stitch snowflake. So the front of the sock is this gorgeous sort of twisted lace pattern. And then you've got, that's just obviously. Just look at that.
That's the bottom of the foot.
Look at that plain bit of knitting.
Oh, it's lovely.
That's interesting.
Well done.
The idea, behind this design is that Lotta is in her lovely little log cabin with Stig the dog, and one morning they wake up and there's a huge blizzard going on outside. So this design depicts that blizzard. So we've got 2 different types of snow that are falling. We've got like the gently falling flakes here, and then we've got the blizzard, where
My favourite type.
Snow is kind of all whirling around, and that's the lovely twisty lace pattern.
Gorgeous.
It is lovely, isn't it? And it's one of those patterns, I think, that looks a bit more difficult than it actually is. It's quite straightforward to knit.
Yeah.
But, you'll need to do a bit of thinking,
Good.
so you'll enjoy it.
Excellent.
Yeah. So for this design, I used Cascade Heritage yarn, because I wanted to just use a yarn that would show off the design, and I did actually start this in two different other yarns that had little speckles in. I found even with just a lightly speckled yarn, it was disguising the snow here, and I really wanted that to show. So I went for Cascade Heritage, and I think it's perfect.
It's gorgeous.
So I used Luna Rock is the grey, the silvery grey, and then Snow, how appropriate, is the heel and toe. And I used my cottage toe for this one, which is like a rounded wedge toe.
And of course, along with this is the second of your original stories
Yes.
of Lotta and Stig.
Yes.
Yes, and they're wonderful.
Absolutely,
They
yeah.
create such a wonderful feeling. I mean, they're just...
Yeah, I love the stories
Yeah.
actually, and I can see her. You know, I can imagine what Lotta looks like, and her dog Stig, and them just all cozied up in their cabin in the woods, and it just makes you want to be there. It did me when I was writing it. I was like, I just want to be there.
Wonderful.
So this pattern is available now if you would like to purchase it on Ravelry and Lovecrafts.
And it's the flurry sock.
Flurry.
Kay Jones, what's on your needles?
Well, the first thing I'm working on, and I need this sock blocker for this, let me just put that one down there because that's noisy and offensive, is my Christmas socks. I showed you this last time, and I've finished a sock now and I've cast on the second. But these are my lovely Christmas socks that I'd started last time, and I put in, if you remember, this lovely little tree motif, and then I've used my umbrella heel. This heel, this is top down, I've worked this one top down. So this, basically I've used the sort of template from the Snow Forest design, but I've put in these trees at the top, you know, instead of using the actual Snow Forest pattern that's in there. But the heel and the toe are both taken from that design. So it's the umbrella heel, which is an afterthought heel. I just love how neat that heel looks. And it fits brilliantly well. And then also my umbrella toe. Now I did think of doing the toe in that cream as well, and when I finished it I thought, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done the toe in the cream. But I've done something with the second sock that makes me glad that I didn't actually. Because I decided for the second sock to make them, they don't exactly match. They're related, but they don't exactly match. So what I'm going to do with the second one, here's the second one that's cast on, is, as you can see, I've used the cream for the trees at the top in a big sort of stripe, and then the whole rest of the sock is going to be in the red, including the heel. So that when you look at them, they're going to just look like they've got an accent of that cream. So this one is the heel and this one is the sort of top of the leg. And I think that'll be really sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, I don't know, but it's a week till Christmas, isn't it? So maybe I could get these done and give them to Bryony for Christmas because she does like them. I have got about 4 other pairs of socks for Bryony for Christmas though. So if I don't, it's not the end of the world and she'll forget about them, kind of. I'm sure she will. But I do really like the trees in the cream. I think they stand out really nicely.
They do.
Really pretty. And I've put this motif, I've actually charted it out and I've put the chart into the December Knitability.
Which is out now.
Yeah, so if you would like to pop this into a sock yourself, then that chart is in that edition, and I've written a little article just about Christmas socks as well, which was really nice. So the red yarn is one that I dyed myself. I spoke about this last time. This is lovely red on a gold stellina base, which is just gorgeous. And then I had a matching base. It's the same base, but this is from Eden Cottage Yarns, and this was in Whispering Grass, which is just this gorgeous rich cream. And I think together it kind of looks like a Santa hat, doesn't it, the two colours? So I thought that was lovely. So yeah, I only cast this on yesterday, last night in fact. So I'm really trying to make some progress on it. So I'll see how I get on, but I'm not going to go nuts. You know, if I think there's no way I'm going to get it done, then I'm not going to stress over it. You know, it'll be done when it's done, sort of thing. But I do really like the sort of simplicity of just having that as the heel. I think it's really nice. And it blocked lovely as well, this yarn. It's lovely and soft, very, very sparkly. And I'm using 2.25mm 64 stitches, and it's my Chow Goo mini twists, which is really all I use for sock knitting. I love them, they're brilliant, they're the perfect needle.
I need to go down a needle size, don't I, in
you
socks?
do,
yeah,
because you've really loosened up. I really like how these fold as well with the afterthought heel. I just fold the heel kind of down the centre like that, and they lay in it, you know, they sit in your drawer really nicely, I think. Dan Jones,
yeah,
what's on your needles?
it's the Scandinavian Christmas Cowl.
Wow.
And I've nearly finished. I've just got 2 rounds to go.
Look at that.
Isn't that marvellous? I especially like this sort of checkered section here.
It's brilliant.
That's my
This
favourite.
one. Yeah.
And it's
Gorgeous. Beautifully knit, I've got to say, honey.
thank you. Goodness. I
wish I could do colour work like Dan. Isn't it fantastic?
well, it's the whole,
Wow. Looks brilliant. So
I'm using my
just
yarn.
revelling in your abilities. I taught you how to do that. But then you got better than me.
Yes. Well, it was my obsession with yarn dominance. And, I've got the clay court to thank for that.
And you're
So-
right, I don't think looking at that actually there is a dominant colour.
There isn't.
When you look at the two colours, I think they're equally.
I will get better and better, though, at this. I'm still not perfect. So I will get better. But if you alternate everything, so you make sure that if you've, taken the yarn underneath on the stitch below, you take the yarn over the top on the stitch above. You're always alternating with everything, and then you do not get any yarn dominance at all, and it keeps it as flat as it possibly can do. And
Gorgeously soft.
what I've found is, and I'm sure it's probably different for everybody, but it's where you're doing things like that.
Back
Thanks.
down.
That's fine. That's where you can have like major issues with puckering and
agree.
stuff. Also here as well, things like that. You can have major problems with puckering, and it's really funny because I hate puckering, and you would think that would make you think, oh well, I'll just use yarn like the Let Lopey.
Yes.
Let Lopey, you just don't have to. I don't feel like I have to work hard at all to get it to work well.
It's a very reliable yarn for colour work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so sticky.
Yeah. It's funny though, because
That's not.
I'd much rather knit colour work with this.
Yeah. I couldn't wear a cowl made out of Lopey around my neck.
No.
It would just be too much, I think. But this is so gorgeously soft.
It's the Tandy yarn.
Yes,
The lovely
the
Australian
Tandy.
yarn with Polwarth.
Polwarth. No, it is Polwarth. It's not with Polwarth.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
entirely Polwarth.
Well, that's the reason why it's so utterly gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to block that so that it lies flat.
But I had some issues with this.
Look at that.
And the issues came, I think, from
Oh, it's gorgeous.
probably my own stupidity, which won't come as a shock to
I'd
you.
like a blanket.
The issues I had were here and here. Although here, I didn't have the issues because of the approaches that I took here. And what happened was, because I was changing the pattern from a 3 yarn to a 2 yarn,
Yeah.
I just couldn't work out quite what was going on by following the pattern. And so it looked terrible here. So I tried, I trusted the pattern, knit through it, looked awful, tinked it all back myself, and then looked at the picture and used my own ability to transition from one to the other. So then when I got to here, I just ignored the pattern and I just did my own thing over the right amount of rounds to transition between there and there.
You didn't ignore the pattern. This is the motif in the pattern, isn't it?
Yes, it's the motif in the pattern.
You didn't make your own up.
No, I didn't make anything up apart from this section here. Yeah?
Oh, right, okay.
There was all sorts of weird business going on in the pattern
Right, okay.
that resulted in this.
Right.
So I don't know whether I was just reading it wrong or what was going on. But when I knit it as it was written, there was like flecks of
Oh, right, okay.
yarn appearing. And
Right. No, yours, it looks brilliant.
mine looks like the finished article.
Right, okay.
So I don't know. I do think that the issue was because I was losing that 3rd yarn.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my head around which yarn should I be knitting now.
Yeah, I
so
understand.
it's all my own stupidity.
Well, it's not stupidity, is it, really?
Had I been using a 3rd yarn, it would have come out beautifully. Because I went down to 2, went my own way, and it's come out great. Has it come out great?
It's gorgeous.
Great. It's that moment.
And someone said, oh, they look like little sheep. Don't they look like sheep?
They do.
I think it was Gaynor, Tales from Cuckoo Land,
Right.
that said that they look like little sheep.
Right.
And she's absolutely right. They do.
Yes.
These ones.
I thoroughly enjoyed
Gorgeous.
knitting this. Thoroughly
Have you
enjoyed
got loads
knitting
of
this.
yarn left?
Yeah. And I'm
Do
really
something else
grateful
with it.
for the recommendation from the friend.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I've
loads
got
left.
And now, if you have any ideas on a cowl or a hat that's sort of similar to this, then please do let me know, because now's the time.
You should chart your own. I've got loads of books.
Well, maybe.
Or maybe I could design something for you.
Maybe so. But it's a great project, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's enabled me to do all the things which I love to do with regards to my colourwork technique. And so, I really can't say anything other than positives about this project. The yarn's been great, the pattern's been fine, wonderful.
I might design you something.
Excellent. What else is on your needles?
Oh, now, this is very exciting. I'm going to show you my Advent project. Now, I haven't mentioned this or shown it anywhere, and there's a specific reason for that. So I'm going to say to someone now, Ali, if you don't want to see...
Who's Ali?
Ali Little Drops of Wonderful.
Right.
If you don't want to see what I'm going to show now, because it might show some yarns that you haven't opened yet. Ali knows what I'm talking about, and I'll explain it in a minute. Ali, skip forward like 5 minutes or something, and I should have, maybe 10, and then we'll have stopped waffling about it. Okay, so my Advent project this year, it's 2 things in one. Now, what I decided to do is actually dye myself up an Advent calendar, a yarn Advent calendar. And because of our daughter Bryony's love of the band BTS, I thought, right, I'm going to use that as a theme, and I'm going to dye up 12 yarns. It's 12 Days of Christmas calendar. I'm going to dye up 12 yarns, all themed around BTS. And I'm well into the project now. I've got, I think, 3 more to open. And also I wanted to show you what I've been working on. So I'm using the yarn to make a pair of socks and also a scarf. But what I'm doing is I've doubled the yarn, because I just thought I don't want to be too ambitious. I'm never going to, put a lot of pressure on me to knit fingering weight socks and a scarf all within December. It just felt a bit much. So I thought, right, I'm going to double the yarn, because Bryony loves thick socks anyway, and she's only got 1 pair, I think, that she wears a lot. So I thought I'll do that. So I'll show you the one I got today.
Have you said why you've told Ali to turn away?
Oh, no, I haven't. So the reason I told Ali not to watch is because I split the yarn that I dyed. So I dyed up 1,200 gram skeins, and then I split it. So I've got 50 grams of each of the colours, and then I sent the other set to Ali, and she had exactly the same set as me, but they're in a different order, because Bryony labelled mine, because I didn't want to know what was coming next, because I dyed them. I didn't want to know what was coming next. So I said, right, Bryony, shuffle them all up and you label them, and then, we know that it's going to be random.
And why did you send them to Ali?
I sent them to Ali because her daughter Lilia is also a massive BTS fan. So I thought it would be a lovely thing for them to open together. Actually, both their daughters, Lilia and Phoebe, both love BTS. So I thought it would be a lovely thing that they could all sort of open together.
Because Ali's daughter also knows our daughter.
Yes. They're pen pals.
We got there.
Yeah.
In the end.
Gosh, honestly, it's a lot of things to say, and so I'll show you the skein that I got today and how I kind of presented them. They're all wrapped up. I've wrapped all of them individually in tissue paper. So you get a little cake, and then on top is the name of that colourway, and then on the bottom of here was a BTS photo card. So Lilia and Phoebe can share those cards, and in my case Bryony gets those cards. So today's colourway that I got, and I know that Ali's already had this one, is I J-Hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And J-Hope is one of the band members. So I'll pull out a few more of the other ones. I took all of the band members, there's 7 of them, and then the remaining 5 I used sort of song titles and things like that. So like we had Christmas Cookie Jar, another band member is called Cookie. Christmas Eve Gin and Tonic, Gin is also a band member. Mr. Bang's Christmas Crackers, Mr. Bang is their manager, is that right? That was the kind of idea behind it, and so I'll show you what I'm knitting. So this is the one I got today, just this morning, so I haven't had a chance to knit this in yet. But this one is lovely, sort of soft blue, little specks of pink and sort of yellowy greeny running through. I am working both socks at the same time, so it's a bit of a light tangle. This yarn, although it's fingering weight, it's a really plump fingering weight, so when I've doubled it, I think I'm getting more of a worsted weight. But I'm knitting them on a 3.25mm, so it is it's a tough old gauge to knit to, but I think actually it'll produce a really cosy sock. So this is where I'm up to with the socks, and I've got two the same. Look at all the ends. We'll not talk about those because I'll deal with them. So here's my socks so far. Isn't it fun?
That's warming.
There's a mixed...
In a welly boot.
Unbelievably, it looks like Bryony has put these into kind of a rainbow order, because we've got pinks at the top here, and we've got pink, orange, yellow, green, and then I've pulled out a blue today. And I know that there's a purple colour coming as well, so she somehow miraculously pulled them out in that sort of order. But this one was Christmas cookie jar, because it's sort of like a cookie colour with this darker specks for chocolate chips. This one was Mr. Bang's Christmas crackers, the orangey one. This top one was I Believe in Christmas Magic, and BE is the title of a recent album that's just come out. It was the album that had Dynamite on it, the very famous song that they've done recently. So that's one sock, and then I've got the other one here to exactly the same point. It's been so fun, and because the yarn is doubled, it doesn't take me that long at all to knit. I'm doing 10 rounds. What I did to make sure that the sock would be the right length is I took another pair of socks that I'd knit in a DK weight that I know fit Bryony, and I counted the rows all the way down, and then I just divided the number of colours that I'd got. I knew that there was obviously 12 colours, and I worked out how many rounds to knit in each colour so that I'd get exactly the right length of sock. So I'm hoping that works out. I know this yarn is a little bit thicker, so it might be it comes out a little bit long on the foot, but this is not a pair of socks she's going to be wearing in shoes anyway. They're just house socks, so it won't matter really if they are a little bit on the slouchy side. But I think looking at it on the blocker, they don't look overly big to me. It seems to be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to show you this needle, because something very odd is going on with one.
What brand is it?
Let me see which one it is first of all. It's this one. Right. I had one set of Higher. These are Higher sharps, fixed circular, and I had one set of 3.25mm, so I thought, right, okay, I can start them, and I'll order another set so that I can work them together. So I did order another set. I don't know whether this is a deliberate change in design or if it's just a mistake in the manufacturing, but whatever reason it is, it's dreadful, because I think it's on both needles.
It's very weird.
Can you see if I hold it? I don't know if you'll be able to see.
Such a strange decision.
Hold my hand behind, you might still not be able to see, but basically in this area here, so it's about maybe 2 centimetres after the needle here, the cable is flat. It's like it's been squished flat. And when I first saw it on one of the needles, when I pulled it out, I was like, oh, there's a mistake here. But it's on both of them. And as well as that, the needle is different, the needle tip, whereas previously when you bought a fixed, it looks like an interchangeable, with the bottom section and the top section, but they're obviously glued together. This one is just one solid piece of metal, so it is like they've been redesigned. And then there's this strange flat section here, but what happens is it does that. Can you see this massive kink here? And you can't, no matter how I hold the needles, look, if I hold them upside down, you've still got this massive bend, and I cannot get them to unbend. And I think it must be because they've flattened out the cable there. It's horrible to work with, I'll be honest. I'm just getting through it because I don't have another higher, and and I didn't want to use a different needle because it might be slightly bigger, so I thought, right, I'll persevere with it. But if anybody knows if this is a deliberate design thing, then I'm just puzzled, because what is that all about? It's horrible, everyone. So if anybody knows what's going on with that, then do comment below, because I'd be really interested to know exactly what is going on there. So I'm going to split my ball here into two, and then I'm going to start working on that. So that's the socks. And then I thought, well, I've got loads of yarn. You know, I've got 50 grams of each of the yarn, so that's like 600 grams altogether. I will make her a scarf as well, because she loves scarves. She's got two that she wears all the time for school, and I thought that would be nice to have a little BTS scarf. So this is the scarf. Isn't it fun? And I'm knitting it in the round, so it's a tube. You can see, look, it's a tube. Because I just find for me, this is the best way of knitting a scarf. Going backwards and forwards flat, you know, when it's just a flat piece of fabric, I just get really bored. Whereas round and round, I find okay, because I'm so used to doing that with socks and things like that. And I'm doing 10 rounds of each colour, but this time I'm using a 5mm needle. So it's way nicer to knit, and the tension is lovely. It's a nice gauge. And I think, looking at it, when I've sort of measured it, I think I'll need to do 3 full repeats of the 12 colours to get a nice length of scarf. Because there's 8 there, so I've got another 4, which will probably take it to about this length. So I think 3 repeats, because all she does, Bryony, she just puts it around her neck. She doesn't wrap it around or anything like that. She just likes it laying around her neck. So it doesn't need to be super, super long. So yeah, I'm doing them like when I get one of these every other day. So I try to do the whole thing in a day. So the scarf and the socks all in a day. But because I've got 2 days, it doesn't matter if I don't quite get it done. I can always do it the next day. And it really doesn't take long to do like 10 rounds on the scarf here. It doesn't take long at all. Maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, let's say. And then this might be another hour. So I can fit that into my day. So yeah, that's my Advent project, which is lovely, and I've got tons of yarn in there, which is brilliant. And this is definitely what I will do going forward. You know, I've bought yarn Advent calendars in the past, and I'm just getting more enjoyment out of this because I've dyed the yarn myself. So this is definitely what I'm going to be doing moving forward. I'm going to make my own every year. There we go.
This is the lovely yarn. It's the second skein. Is that? No, it's not a skein. What should I call it?
That's a cake.
It's the second cake. But let me say the sentence and you tell me how I should say it.
Okay.
This is the second skein of yarn which Kay dyed up.
Yes, that's correct.
For the Dunbrock socks.
Yes.
But this is a cake.
Because I've wound it into a cake.
This is the second skein of yarn which has subsequently been wound into a cake using the Knit Pro Natural ball winder.
This one here.
Yes. Because that probably is the most asked question.
Oh, right, okay. Is that what it's called, the natural?
It seems to be, but there is one that also looks like multicoloured. You know, like they're weird coloured needles.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is the same thing, but it's just
a different wood.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the one that's the pale coloured wood.
It's the wooden one. It's the only.
It's very good, but I've discovered that you've really got to wind in one direction. I was having trouble with a few cakes and I couldn't work out why. You know, they just weren't winding well and they were getting tangled. And I realised I was winding them in the opposite direction to how I normally did it. So I've started winding them now. I use the machine back to front. So I think if you were using it so that the wording was right, looking at you here, you know, there's some printing on it, you would wind it clockwise. Be careful with that, because I have had issues with cakes, but when I wind them in the right direction, they're just it's a perfectly beautiful yarn cake.
So these are the Fairywings, and it's the pattern which Kay released earlier on this year. Actually, it's when you did, because this year Kay did 3 special My Favourite Colourway episodes.
Yes.
And newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, My Favourite Colourways will be back for its first proper full series, and it's starting on the 8th of January.
Wow, is it really?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to get my finger out.
So, My Favourite Colourways, first ever full proper series. This year, actually, it's been a wonderful year. It's funny saying that, but it's been a wonderful year in so many ways for us. In that we've produced lots of things, lots of different types of shows, and this year we've had more messages about My Favourite Colourways, but also about Walking the Dales than anything we've ever produced before. So we're unbelievably thrilled to be able to, with My Favourite Colourways, start its first proper full series. It's January. So this pattern was inspired by the very first episode of My Favourite Colourways, that first special.
Yes, because I dyed up Fairywings, didn't I? I think I've got that colour in here.
And so...
I have. That's Fairywings.
Yes. And so when I finished my last pair of socks, I decided I wanted to knit these. And I've got to say, after I did the first repeat, I thought I'd made a huge mistake. Because of the central double decrease.
It's helpful if you've got pointy needles, I think.
They're pretty pointy.
Yeah, you've got chow goose, they're pretty good.
So there was all sorts of different things which Kay showed me, and I was getting myself into a position where I was able to do it. But I kept, when you're lifting the 2 stitches over to do effectively the decrease...
You were losing the stitch, weren't you?
I was losing the stitch that I was knitting. Because you're knitting it, aren't you? And you're lifting the stitches over the top of it, or you've knitted it.
You were losing the stitch that you are lifting it over.
Yes.
So
you've knitted it.
The final stitch that's on your right-hand needle, you were losing that stitch. You were dropping it.
Because you slip 2, knit 1, and then...
you slip 2 together, knitwise.
Yes.
You knit 1, and then you pass those 2 slip stitches over.
Yes.
And I always I use my right index finger, and I make sure it's on the end of that right-hand needle, so I'm not going to lose that stitch, and then lift over.
You see, that's fine. Hold your index finger out. That's fine when you have a perfectly designed index finger for knitting. But when you have not so perfectly designed fingers for knitting, it creates a bit more of a problem. I'm not able to do the sort of specific things that you sometimes do to make the stitches work. So, I'm sort of struggling and problems, and dropped it a couple of times, and you had to help me fix it. And then I just realised that all I had to do
was lift them one at a time.
No. All you do is, so you're lifting it over, you just pull on the yarn on this side.
Oh yeah, to keep it on the needle.
Yeah,
I do that as well, but I just probably do it subconsciously without thinking. So
pulled on that.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah. It's a dream. It comes off perfect.
Because it tightens up that stitch, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And jams it onto the needle, and then you can lift over. Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have told you that.
It's fine.
But you just do these things, don't you, without thinking, and then you forget when you teach it, when you're telling somebody what you do. Sometimes not transferred.
Yeah. So the problem is completely resolved. I've gone from absolutely hating the central double decrease. But you see, when I find something that I can't do, I might not like it, but I really want to master it. Because the hardest thing, I think, what I used to say to my students was, when I was a teacher, when you find something you can't do, that is a massive positive, because as you get older in life, you learn to do more and more things, and it's harder to find things that you can't do. So when you do find something you can't do, you've got a huge opportunity to better yourself. If you can learn to do that and do it well, and it be second nature, then what you've done is, not only have you bettered yourself, you've also raised your ability bar. So I know I've got better. I love lace knitting. I think it's great fun, and I'd only ever done the central double decrease once before.
Right.
So it's no wonder I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, how can you possibly be good at it?
It produces a very straight decrease. That's why it's called a central.
Yeah.
Because you can do other double decreases, but they tend to lean one way or the other.
Yeah. It's a cool effect.
Sometimes that's needed for the pattern, but this one, it produces a dead straight decrease.
I think it's
down.
Absolutely superb effect.
Yeah, I understand it can be a little fiddly. I think once you've got used to it, though.
Fiddly, in fact. Figgly. This, though, has gone from being something which I haven't been enjoying to something I am absolutely loving.
Well, tighten up your gauge a bit.
Well, it's a learning point for everybody, and I think this is a fact. It makes absolute sense that your gauge is going to loosen when you're doing complex lace. when you're doing anything with your hands, if you're at ease, your hands will operate in a different way
Yeah.
to if you're not at ease.
Yeah.
And that then must have an effect on tension.
I'm sure,
and gauge.
yeah, I'm sure.
Anyway, what's on your hook?
Well, the last thing I've got to show you today is my crochet, moss stitch, linen stitch, triangle shawl blanket thing.
That title is way up there.
Yes.
With the his and hers Aran vest with neck options.
It's a good one, isn't it? But I've been...
Talk about utilitarian.
I know. I made a decision about this, and I've got something else to show you as part of that decision. But I'll show you where I'm up to. I've done loads on this, actually, since I last showed you. Oh, I love it. I still absolutely love it. Look how lovely this is. I can't even show it you all because it's quite big now. Look how lovely it is. And I think the last time I showed you, I was, in this kind of section here. So I've done, I don't know, 3-4 inches maybe, which, considering now it's really long rows, I think that's pretty good. And I've been putting in some lovely yarns, actually. This pink that I'm putting in now, oh, I love it. It's Wild Rose yarns. It was part of a set. I've nearly done with it. Look, I've got about 5 grams left. It's just such a pretty pink with gorgeous little specks in it. So I'm nearly done with that one. But the one here, can you see this colour here? This was another 20 gram mini, but this was one that I dyed myself. And I threw it in the pot with 2 other skeins that I was dyeing that I've actually sent to people as gifts. And I gave it a Christmas themed name, so I won't say what the name is because they won't have opened it yet. But it's just got gorgeous sort of a pinky red and little shots of green on a kind of beige, not even beige, like a fawny sort of background. And then there's also little specks of brown in there. It just produced such a lovely colour, and I was just, I thought I do that quite often. Do you know, if I'm dyeing up yarn as a present for someone, I'll throw in a mini skein at the same time so that I get a little treat as well. And I loved working that. And that's a full 20 gram mini, so that's how much I'm getting at the moment with 20 grams. And then this sort of speckledy green here that you can see, that was from a sock set that I knit some socks with last year. It might have been earlier this year, but I think it was called Dobby's Socks or something like that, and it was from Nora George. And the decision I made with this shawl was that I kind of wanted to copy Ali, Little Drops of Wonderful, because she did a shawl that she finished, I think, the back end of last year, was it, Ali? And she did a granny stripe shawl with all of her Advent minis, and I think she made it over about 3 years, and it ended up gigantic. And I thought, I want to do that. I totally want to copy Ali. And
that sounds like one of my projects.
Ended up gigantic.
No, she made it up.
I don't know.
She made it over 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
But it was a deliberate 3 years because she only worked on it at Christmas.
Yeah. My projects are deliberately 3 years.
So I thought that's what I want to do with this. I want to make it just into this giant shawl that I can wrap around me, when I do my early morning knitting when it's chilly. I just thought that'd be so lovely. So because I made that decision, I thought, what shall I do with that other one that I started? Because can you remember I started another one because I was going to join them together and make it into a square blanket.
What are you going to do with it, Kay?
Well,
tell us.
I have effectively finished it, and I'm giving it to one of Bryony's teddies for Christmas. So I've got the said teddy here and the little shawl, and so I finished it and I blocked it.
Who knitted that teddy, Kay?
Well, I'll show you in a minute. So this is it. Can you remember?
You're gonna own up.
Yes. It was the one that was in really bright colours, and this is lots of my dyed yarn actually, and I think with a couple of others, but it's mainly my dyed. So I finished it off where it was, and I give it a little block, and I'm giving this to, there's hairs all over it, it's Bryony's hair. Climby Bear, that's another one. Climby Bear, look at Climby Bear.
And Climby Bear
hello.
Was he the first?
Climby Bear was the first bear that I knit when I came back to knitting when Bryony was about 3.
So what you could say is, were it not for Climby Bear, we would not be sat here right now.
Probably not. It's all down to little Climby Bear, and he's not very well knit, which is why I'm sort of covering him up, because when I first started knitting again, which will be 12 years ago now, I hadn't knit since I was kind of 10 or 11 or something. So, it was a long time. And he's not my best work. However, he's adorable and we love him. So I'll put his shawl on and it turns him into like a bear superhero.
He's got so much character.
He has. We love him, and Bryony loves him.
It's his ear positioning that I like the best.
It's excellent. Yes, I did a brilliant job. Excellent.
But if you think you hadn't knit for so long.
No, that's right, I hadn't. And I made
she loved Climby Bear.
a teddy.
Well, she still does.
She still loves Climby Bear. She adores him. So look, he can have his little arms out like that, and it's like a cape.
He needs a hat and a cane now.
He kind of does, doesn't he? Oh,
He looks like quite the country gent.
Look at him in his little shawl. He's like Super Bear now. But how cute is that? So Climby Bear, ignore what you've just seen, because I'm going to wrap that up for Christmas for you. Okay.
It's Climby Bear's Christmas.
Yes, Climby Bear will appreciate that, I'm sure. So that's going to get wrapped up for Christmas, and that'll be a little gift for Climby Bear.
Finished?
Yes.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, as we've established today, it is of course getting close to Christmas, so there's only one way that we could possibly celebrate. We know how much you guys have loved Walking the Dales this year, and so absolutely it was obvious for our final show before Christmas we had to get out for a special festive walk. So it's with great excitement that I'm now going to take you to a place which my family discovered 4 generations ago.
Wow.
Which is amazing, isn't it? And I walked there for ages without...
4 generations, is that right? No, it's not.
Grandparents, my parents,
Yeah.
me, Bryony.
Oh, right, okay.
4 generations.
Right,
Because
okay.
Bryony loves to go walking there.
She does.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, it's 3 generations ago.
Yeah.
Yes. So without further ado, I think that we should go, for the first time ever, walking the moors. Throughout 2020, I've been absolutely delighted to share with you some of my favourite walks in the Yorkshire Dales. In this first series of Walking the Dales, over 6 great walks, we've seen some breathtaking sights and we've uncovered some wonderful stories. But now it's time for us to spread our wings and fly a little further, because Yorkshire has so much more to offer. Beyond the Yorkshire Dales lies this, the North York Moors National Park. This is the landscape that I used to walk through when I was a lad. Has it changed much in the last 35 years? I've got absolutely no idea. So shall we find out as we go walking the moors? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
to Codbeck Reservoir on the northwestern edge of the North York Moors National Park. Now, this is a landscape that my family has been walking through and coming to for 3 generations. And to this day, it's one of our favourite places to come for a visit. Whatever the weather, Codbeck has always got something for you because it's surrounded by fir trees. So it keeps you cool on a hot summer day and it keeps you relatively dry on a rainy day in the autumn and winter. It's perfect for picnics, but also it's wonderful for walks, and it's absolutely littered with hundreds of paths, some of which have been here for hundreds of years. And it's no surprise really, because on the right day some of the wildlife that you'll see up here is absolutely stunning, but it's also the views that every so often really take your breath away. We've climbed up quite high on our journey up here to the North York Moors National Park, and so every so often when you catch it just right, some of the things that you'll see really do take your breath away. Just take a look at this. I told you it was gorgeous, didn't I? What makes this place extra special for me is every Christmas, my family had a tradition. On Boxing Day, we would normally go for a walk, and it was to here that we normally came. Now, when I walk this route, I'm constantly reminded of places where we've stopped for a picnic, or we've climbed a tree, or maybe played hide and seek. And I suppose then it goes without saying that as I grew up and I had my own family, it was to here, to this wonderful place, that I was drawn. And then I think it was about 2 years ago that my mum dropped a bombshell. She told me that she'd been coming here since it opened in 1953. Her mum and dad, my gran and grandpa, and here they are, we've got a picture to prove it, their visit in 1953 or 1954. She can't remember when this photo was taken, but there's my Grandpa Len, my grandma Dorothy, and their dog Angus, you can see at the bottom of the picture, and they're stood on the banks of Codbeck Reservoir, which is just over there. We're going to get to it later on in today's walk. So do you fancy joining me for an explore of this wonderful place? And along the way we'll see if we can find the spot where that picture was taken. Right, I think I'm all set. So let's go walking the moors. Now then, as I make my way along this really slippery path. Oh my goodness. You might be wondering why this walk was entitled the Sheep Wash. Well, I shall tell you. Everyone knows this area as the Sheep Wash. They always have. For all the time that my mum came here and all the time that I've come here, and everyone who lives around here knows it by that name. And the reason why is because of this rather unambiguous looking bridge. My goodness, this really is a surprisingly steep climb. I can't believe I've been walking this track for about 40 years. Wow. Where did the time go and when did I get so old? Now, as I've grown into an adult, I've started to hypothesize as to what had caused, this very sort of specific track that we're walking along. And I came up with this very sensible idea that it must have been erosion. To find out that thousands of years of use by men and women and cattle and sheep, it really does give the place an even more poignant atmosphere. Yeah, talk about memories. It's like being in a time warp. It's funny, isn't it, how destinations can do that to you, but I know this spot perfectly. It was about 1992 or 1993, and me and my two brothers and my dad came up here for a walk, and we stopped right here for a photo. I think my dad stood up on there, and me and my two brothers stood on the fence right where you guys are, and we had a photograph. I don't have the physical photo, I've got no idea where it is, but I can even remember the clothes we were wearing. It's spooky. It's funny, isn't it? How places, destinations can do that to you. Talk about memories. There's the woods that me and my brothers were always desperate to get to on my right hand side. Perfect for tree climbing and games of hide and seek and all sorts of adventures. But then on the left, there's the first of the many moors that we're going to discover. It's a landscape that's absolutely full of evidence of human occupation. There's field systems and ancient cairns and all sorts of wonderful things to find and explore. And I absolutely love it. Something very different about the landscape here to the Yorkshire Dales. It's much more rugged. Feels a bit more butch. I know that might sound silly, but I think because I spent so much time here as a child, I really do feel at home. Right, this is it, folks. That there is the right turn that every time we've ever walked here, we've taken. The famous route taught to me by my mum, first walked by my gran and grandpa. We have left it behind. This now is all new. We're breaking new ground. So I'm going to go from not needing to look at my Ordnance Survey map to needing to give it a very close look. But this is going to be fun. What shall we find? This is Solomon's Lane. And when I spotted it on the map, I don't know why, I instinctively thought there must be something interesting down there. So I started doing a bit of research. And I found that it led to something called Solomon's Temple. And I got very excited because to me, Solomon's Temple is screaming Jerusalem and the Knights Templar and all sorts of exciting, interesting things. So I started doing a bit of research. And let me tell you, if there was anything interesting at the end of that lane, we'd be going. But there's not. Because Solomon's Temple was actually built. I found a newspaper report from 1840 that was printed not long after it was built, and it was created by a man called Solomon Metcalfe in 1812. And basically he just got a load of stones and all sorts of lovely things, and he did try to recreate the temple, King Solomon's Temple from Jerusalem, but it was in a little bit of a smaller form. All that's left is just a couple of gateposts. They're not very exciting. Right, folks, I'm completely out of my comfort zone now because my family's walks all used to take place way over there. So this is all completely new ground. So whilst I get my bearings and have a very close look at my Ordnance Survey map, you guys go off for a break and I'll see you later on in the show for a whole lot more Walking the Moors.
My goodness, there's something very special about that place. I wonder if it's the trees.
The trees.
Trees. Where you get specifically fir trees, they create a very special sound. But also as well, I think they block out the wind.
They do.
And also, as well, as I said at the start of part one there, they also can block out a bit of the rain too. And it makes it feel...
Was it raining the whole time when you were there?
On and off.
It shouldn't have been, should it? It wasn't predicted to rain.
Not really, but...
Gosh, it's rained such a lot and it's pouring down today. It's been so wet, the ground, hasn't it?
It has, but I'm not complaining. I don't mind.
No.
I don't mind. But do you know what? It was wonderful to go back there and to experience some of the things which... Because I've subsequently found out that my mum, not only did she go in the 50s, and hence you saw she actually took that photograph.
Oh, wow, your mum took it?
Yeah, she did, yeah.
Wow.
So not only did she go in the 50s, but she also went in the 60s, and she's got a picture of herself there in the 60s. We need to get a look at that one. But
she'll be in some fabulous clothes, I'm sure.
yes, I know.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're only halfway there, because all we've really covered so far is ground that we know. You know, that's all the places that we've been to before and walked before. Now it's time to break some new ground, to properly go off-piste. So when we return in part 2, we'll be finding out what
Indeed.
I find when we leave the woods behind and we venture ever further towards Osmotherley. Now, though, it's time for me to ask Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
I've got plenty of things. So the first thing is I finished Bryony's mitts, and I totally forgot I'd made these. I finished them, I think, the same day we recorded last time, and I hid them in my podcast basket. And I just went in there this morning, and I thought, oh, I forgot about those. So she'll love having these. So yeah, it's Bryony's Christmas mitts. They're all finished. I did the thumbs. Which didn't take very long at all, actually. I did them in the car, waiting for her at school one day. So there we go, look.
Gorgeous colourway. Great work.
Well, thank you very much. Aren't they sweet?
And Dragon Hill Studios, who created that colourway, are in the current issue of Notability.
Yes, so this yarn's from Dragon Hill Studios, as Dan said, and...
From Andrew and Sharon.
It's in the Twinkling Lights colourway, I had to think then. And I have got 60 grams left It's here actually, it's just here. I've got exactly 60 grams left, so I'm sure if I use contrast cuff, heel and toe, I'll be able to make some shorty socks for Dan, and I might do them toe up and split the yarn, and then I'll know, you know, I can use all of the skein if I do them that way, and that'll be cool, so I think I might do that. But when I did this thumb, this really cute thing happened with the yarn. The little speckles kind of like stacked on top of each other. Can you see there? Isn't that cute? And it did it on the other side as well. I think that was really sweet when that happened. I was worried about what the thumb would look like, but I think actually it looks fine. You can see the colour carries on, but obviously you get a thicker band on the thumb. But these will now, I haven't even washed these, to be fair, because I just put them on and I thought they're absolutely fine. I don't need to, you know, to block them. They're fine. So I'm just going to give them to her like that. So I can now wrap these up, and that'll be a lovely little present for Bryony. I think she'll really like this.
Gorgeous.
So that's that. And I've finished Dan a pair of Christmas socks as well.
Are you sure they're not Halloween socks?
Well, do you know, I don't think it matters that these are Halloween themed socks. The thing is, if I
seemed like it's just a similar holiday to me, Halloween, and
if I hadn't finished these now, they would have sat in a bag for a year. And I hate leaving projects just sitting. You know, I can feel them. They like talk to me out of the project bags up there.
When are you going to finish me?
When are you going to finish me? I've been sat up on this shelf for 3 months. So I finished them. It was a bit of a slog finishing the second sock. Here it is. I do have two. It was a bit of a slog, I'll be honest. And I think it's just because I was past that Halloween thing. It's the same thing for me with Christmas, you know. Once we get past Christmas, I can't really look at anything Christmas knitting wise until sort of September, when I sort of want to knit everything Christmas again. So I just knew, I thought, right, just do it. Just stop moaning in your own head and get on and do it. So I did. I finished them and I'm really pleased with them. I think they look lovely.
Yeah.
And you did try one of them on for me and it fit really well, so that's good. So this is on one of the large sock blockers, but it goes off the end because Dan's feet are so long. But I used Cascade Heritage again with these in just these lovely Scooby-Doo Halloween sort of colours. This one again is Luna Rock that I used for the flurry socks. And then this is Pumpkin, I believe. This is Night, Jasmine Green and Dahlia. Oh, I think I've remembered that right. And I did a broken 1x1 rib. So it's just one round of knit one, purl one round plain knit. And I think it looks lovely. Works really well. 72 stitches and then just knit forever until you reach the right length. Dan's foot is 12.5 inches long, so I tend to knit to, I know how many rounds it is now. I don't knit by measurements, I knit by rounds, because my gauge really over all these years for socks, it's never changed so far, touch wood. So I'd rather count rounds rather than keep measuring, because I think measuring, because it's a stretchy fabric, I think it can be a bit of a unreliable way of doing it, measuring. So I'd rather knit by rounds, and then I've got two socks which are exactly the same, and that always works for me. So they're all done, and I'm going to wrap those up, and that's another present done. I've already shown you the flurry socks from the winter collection.
Came out on the 11th of December, didn't they?
Yes, so the flurry socks came out on the 11th of December, and then the final pattern in the collection actually comes out on Monday, this Monday coming, which is the 21st of December. Now, because we're not doing a show now until the new year, I really didn't want you to have to wait till then to see the final pattern. And because it's out by the time you watch this, the pattern could well be out already. So I thought, why don't I show that final pattern?
As a special Christmas treat.
A little Christmas treat. So before I do that, I will show you just quickly. We've got the Snow Forest is pattern 1, design 1.
Which came out on the 1st.
That came out on the 1st.
With the first story from Stig and Lotta.
Yeah. We've then got the second socks, which are flurry, which I showed you earlier. And the third pair of socks are called Winter Solstice.
Oh.
And they're released on the winter solstice.
Oh.
And these are the winter solstice socks. I absolutely adore these socks.
They're gorgeous.
It uses 2 different lace patterns.
Wow.
And I just think they're so pretty. Now, I'm not going to tell you the inspiration or what happens in Lotte and Stig's story.
Oh no, yeah, that would spoil it.
That would spoil it.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, but I'm not going to. So let me just hold up one sock. And then that gives you something to look forward to, doesn't it, when the pattern's released. So there we go. It's these 2 gorgeous little lace stitch patterns that are alternated around. And we've got, so it's top down again. All of the patterns are top down. The first one has the afterthought heel, and then the 2 following, a heel flap and gusset. This one uses a square turn. The flurry pattern used a French turn. And I try to vary it so that you're getting something different in each pattern. And then, you can try all these different heel turns and toes and work out which one fits you the best, which one you like knitting the best. So this one has my umbrella toe. So contrast heel, contrast toe. And the yarn I used, isn't it just the prettiest colour ever? And I think it's wintry without looking Christmassy. I didn't want these don't have a Christmas theme, it's a winter theme, because I wanted them to be socks that you can knit all the way through the winter, and not, like I've just said, Christmas socks are very specific, aren't they? And I really only ever want to knit Christmas socks in December. Whereas these socks, you can knit November, December, January, February, March even. It's freezing cold, isn't it? And not feel like it was out of season. So the yarn is Eden Cottage yarns, and it's the Brimham base. And the pink colour is Rosebed. And then this again is Whispering Grass on a different base, but this is Whispering Grass again. I just love that colour. It's such a fantastic neutral. Gorgeous, and it just worked beautifully. I think stitch definition, I can't say the word, stitch definition came out just so pretty, and it's so nice to knit. And thank you again to all of my testers for all of these 3 socks. Everybody was just fantastic, and you all knit them really fast and gave me great notes. It was just brilliant, so thank you all so much.
Beautiful.
So these are the winter solstice, so that's all 3 of the patterns from the winter collection. And I'll show you the other thing I wanted to do, which I can show you now, is when I kind of held them all together, I wanted them to look really, like they were a collection with the colours. I just think they look really sweet together. Just nice and wintry colours. So I'm thrilled with all 3 of those patterns. So I really hope you enjoy knitting them up through this winter and making your own little winter collection of socks.
Wonderful. They'd be perfect for a lovely walk in the woods.
They would.
So that's the perfect segue for us to get back out to Codbeck to the sheep wash and to finish off our lovely walk in the moors. Welcome back to Walking the Moors. Now, whilst my family's been walking here, crumbs, since 1953. Yes, I've only been coming here for 40 years. But we've never come quite so far into what's known as us Motherly Moor.
You can tell I'm not in my comfort zone because I've totally extended my walk without realising it. Whoops. I misread the map and took a slightly later right turn than I should have done, but who cares? It's too pretty today. It may be chilly, but it's keeping me at perfect temperature for keeping up a really nice pace. I've got quite interesting memories of Osmotherley. It was all because of, it was a Christmas in 1984 or 1985. I'll have been about 9 or 10. And I got invited for my first ever sleepover. I lived at the time about 40 minutes drive south of here. And a friend of mine who went to school with me lived in Osmotherley. So here I came, feeling all confident for my first sleepover. Arrived here. I've got to admit I was a little bit perturbed by the distance because when you're 9, 10 years old, 40 minutes in the car, you might as well be going to the moon. But I arrived and the family were really lovely. They actually lived in the vicarage in Osmotherley. And everything's going great. And we're having a great time. And I remember they had an Advent candle that we burnt at tea time. And then off we went to bed. And suddenly I got rather homesick. Whoops. So homesick, in fact, that I made my friend's mum phone my mum. And I just remember begging my mum to come and pick me up, of which she agreed to. And a weekend stay ended up being a one-night stay. Well, it is rather treacherous. I'll try not to slip. This is a place called Rocky Plains, and it's really easy to see why actually, because there's loads and loads of exposed rock and interesting sort of things going on in the ground and on ground level. That makes it perfect for the sport of motorcycle trials, and an international event was actually held right here in 2019. I've got to say actually, motorcycling is never something that's ever really appealed to me. I'm much happier running or walking, although to be fair, I did mountain bike through these moors quite a lot about 20 years ago. But walking and running is my thing now. I feel much more connected to the countryside around me and can really take in the sounds and the wildlife as you walk through this stunning countryside. Now I do love these. It's a lovely little footbridge, and it's actually crossing Cod Beck itself. This is the river that flows straight out of the reservoir that is our destination today. We're climbing again, folks, as we leave Cod Beck behind, and it's really interesting actually how many people get caught out by the whole Cod Beck thing, because you'd think, wouldn't you, that cod, that would mean that there'd be cod in there, but of course cod's a saltwater fish and this is a freshwater river, so there's absolutely no chance of finding any cod in Cod Beck. Now, we're actually making our way up to, and this is a steep climb again. Wow. Here's me thinking today would be a slightly easier walk than last time, but it most definitely isn't. We're going to leave the trails for a bit as we pick up Quarry Lane, and that's going to take us towards the woods that I know so well. Thankfully, after just a few hundred yards, we're off the road. That's actually called Quarry Road because it used to link all the quarries with the village of Osmotherley itself. Because when the quarrying boom happened here in the Victorian era, the quarrymen needed somewhere to live, and that's really when Osmotherley grew into the big village that it is now. And what a perfect spot for a youth hostel. I mean, it is idyllic, really. That actually used to be a mill, a linen mill. Osmotherley used to be, for hundreds of years, it was famous across the country for handloom weaving. And when the Victorians arrived here in the 19th century with all their quarries, they decided it was time for a resurgence. So they built that mill, Coatgill Mill, and lots of others sprung up. And for 150 years, they did it. It boomed. But then 20th century arrived, foreign competition came in that was much cheaper, and unfortunately all the mills closed. But now, it's a gorgeous youth hostel that you can come and stay at. Now we're getting into territory I'm more familiar with. Back on solid ground. Well, I wish we were. The ground is extremely slippy. But before we get to those paths which I walked as a lad, which are a few hundred metres in that direction, there's a treat in store. Because according to the map, there's a ruined farmhouse round here. And I only wish that me and my brothers had found it all those years ago, because what better place to play hide and seek? Look. Now, it just so happened that in 1947, my mum and my gran and my grandpa moved from the far south of England, hundreds and hundreds of miles actually. It was a huge move for that time. You know, 1947, straight after the war. I mean, it must have been just massive for them. And they came here. And by 1953, they were well ensconced in the local community. And as my mum recalls, there was a flyer through the door, and it said that Codbeck Reservoir was going to be opened. And ever the adventurers, one Christmas in, which you can't remember exactly when, either 1953 or 1954, they came here for our first ever walk. So we're up on top of the dam head now. It's actually 80 feet up from Codbeck, from the stream that we walked across earlier in the walk. So to my left we've got this precipitous drop, but then to my right we've got the gorgeous calming waters. And we said at the start of the walk today that we were going to try and find the spot where my gran and grandpa were stood. And I have a little feeling it might just be just over here on this side of the lake. Now, it's pretty tricky to make out that picture because it's so old, but I've got a feeling it might just have been taken here, because this is a really popular spot. It's really funny to think that what was a spur-of-the-moment trip out by my grandparents and my mum here in 1953 or 1954 has now led to the fourth generation of my family loving coming here for an adventure and for a walk. And I can think of no better place to finish our wonderful walk today. And what a walk it's been. This walk for me has been about retreading old ground, but also breaking new ground. And I think what it's shown to me categorically is Kevin and I have got unfinished business in the North York Moors. So yes, well, this is officially the end of my very first walking series. How would you like to join me in 2021 for 10 brand new walks? 5 in the Yorkshire Dales, but 5 here as we explore the North Yorkshire Moors. And the best part of all is you don't have to wait long for season 2 to begin, because the fun commences on the 22nd of January 2021. So all that's left for me to do is thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful winter walk, and I'll see you next month when we will once again be walking the moors.
Now, I may have got lost. I may have accidentally extended my walk.
Added a bit of mileage.
But that is a landscape that it just calls out to get lost in.
Oh, the colours were wonderful. You know, from Kevin's.
It's a heather.
Yeah, the shots from Kevin, the drone.
Yeah.
That sort of deep purple next to that vivid green, because some of the trees were really still vivid green. Oh, it just looked so fantastic.
Yeah, lots of amazing sights. It's a very different landscape to the Dales.
Yeah, it's quite stark in a way, isn't it, the moors?
Yeah.
But then when he flew over the old field boundaries.
Yeah, amazing.
Fantastic. You could never have seen that from the ground.
No. I mean, it's a stunning place, and I do feel very much at home there. So that is the reason why I'm so excited. And as you will have caught there just at the end of that show, yes, season 2 of Walking the Dales / Walking the Moors will commence on the 22nd of January. 10 walks, 5 in the Dales, 5 in the Moors. I'll try and alternate it, actually.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. So no idea where we're going to start yet, but just thrilled to be back next year with a brand new season, but also to be, pushing out a little bit further and taking you to explore what is just the most lovely place, which is the North York Moors National Park. So what a great way.
Yes.
What a great way to sort of...
I loved it. I said to you when I was watching it back that I'd kind of forgotten that Dan was my husband. It was like I was just watching somebody present a show. The
only thing that I wish is that it hadn't been quite so slippy.
Yeah.
I nearly went down about 5 times.
I know, I would have gone down.
Whoops. Oh yeah. You wouldn't have got like 2 minutes through. Hey, look. We're approaching the end of the show. And think of this as our Christmas party.
Yes.
And there's one thing that you have to do at a Christmas party.
Eat a mince pie.
And pull a cracker.
Oh, it's upside down. I've got a mince pie. These are pretty good. They're from Sainsbury's, but they're actually really good. Yummo.
And now can I pull a cracker?
We've got crackers.
Look at our crackers.
We've got crackers.
They're gorgeous.
Look at these glamorous
They're really
crackers.
old-fashioned.
Yeah. Aren't they fantastic?
Now, there's a problem when I pull a cracker. Come on.
Right, so if you've got earbuds in, just be careful because the snap might be a bit...
Hopefully it shouldn't be too...
Oh, we're doing one at a time?
Okay, do both.
Oh,
You ready?
hang on, no, I'm not ready. I need to grab at the cracky thing.
Ready?
Oh!
Oh, look. There we go. It's perfect.
Oh, only one crack?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's more than enough. Ooh.
What have we got?
Oh, jokes. I love jokes. Are you ready?
Oh, I've no idea what I've got.
What does Santa suffer from if he gets stuck in a chimney?
I don't know.
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia.
Oh, sorry.
Klaus. That sounds German. Right, hang on, I've got mine. Oh, it's a good one.
I've got a pad.
Oh, you've got a pad. I've got a strange puzzle thing, look.
Oh, wow.
And it's got instructions.
Right, yeah. This is marvellous.
I think you have to get the ring off the thing off there. So that looks fun.
Go on then,
right,
go on.
okay. Who hides in the bakery at Christmas?
I don't know.
A mince pie.
Right.
Excellent.
Now,
I've got a purple hat.
Here's the problem
Ooh.
that I have at Christmas. Look. Look.
Poor Dan.
It just doesn't fit.
Oh.
What I need
What you need
is a hat that fits.
a hat that fits. Bless him.
Look, I can't get you.
I know.
Look.
So okay, why don't you try this one?
Put it on my head.
I may have made Dan a hat.
Put it on my head. It might actually fit me. This is all because of the Von Toos method of birth.
Look. Oh, it's a bit cockeyed. Hang on. There we go. Look, I made him his very own hat because they never fit him. And every Christmas, you know, me and Brian are like, oh, it doesn't fit him. And you normally shove it on your head and it just tears.
This one fits.
I made him one.
It's perfect.
I made it out of felt, and look, I put it's wool felt actually. It's lovely, and I just embroidered some little snowflakes on it.
Marvellous.
So you've got your very own hat.
For every Christmas,
Aww.
I shall wear it. Thank you, darling.
Look, I can't even get my hat open.
Shall I do it for you?
Can't get the two halves
There you
open.
go.
Oh, that wasn't difficult apparently.
But you don't have any moisture in your fingers, so that's
Well,
the
no,
reason why
that's
you
true.
can't get it.
Hang on. There we
Whoopee.
go. Hey, it totally goes with my jumper.
Now it's Christmas.
Cracked it
Oh,
this
yes.
time. Normally it's a garish, it's like the orange. I don't like the orange ones. Oh, lovely. We've got party hats, mince pies.
So it's time for the Endy Bits, ladies and gentlemen. Now, whilst we're not going to see you on the video show until the 8th of January, my goodness, there's a lot of content coming your way because on the
Yes.
26th of December, we'll be with you for a very special Boxing Day radio show. And then we shall return on the 1st of January. You can see in the new year perfectly with us in your lovely ears as we take you for another walk
ears.
in another radio show episode.
You look like the Cowardly Lion. Do you know when he puts his crown on and it's like skew away?
Oh no! Oh yeah.
It's
I can't
not
do that.
straight. There we go.
How's that?
Oh, it's still a bit not straight. Why can't you get it straight? You're making it more not straight. Look at me. Right.
Oh look, it doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter. You look a bit like one of those old-fashioned kings, you know, that wore the little crowns. There we go.
Medieval kings.
Yeah, kind of. It's still not.
So we've got a radio show on the 26th of December and then on the 1st of January 2021.
Yes,
But also, the Baker Bears Advent Calendar is still running.
it is.
It continues until the 24th of December.
Yeah.
And on the 24th of December, you receive a pattern.
Yes,
Every Bakery Bear patron receives the Christmas tide cowl.
they do.
And we would like to see the progress on the Christmas
Would
tide
you like
cowl.
to see where everyone's
Yes.
up to?
Up to this point. Okay.
Okay.
Here it is. The gorgeous Christmas tide cowl.
So this is where everyone's up to at the moment. So here we go. It started down here.
And every section is inspired by
Yes.
one of your favourite Christmas stories.
It is.
Yes.
And I've folded over the remaining sections so it's still secret. And I used 2 mini skein sets from lovely Susie at Elderflower Stitchers, and I know lots of people bought this as well, so lots of people are knitting this exact colour combination. I just
Beautiful.
thought it looked gorgeously wintry.
Yeah.
The blue here gets a little bit deeper as you go up. So I used Point Shoes and After the Rain, 2 gradient mini skein sets, and I think it just worked absolutely beautifully. It blocked out gorgeous. So yeah, that's our progress so far on the Christmas tide cowl. We've got 3 more sections there to go.
And then the full pattern launches
yes.
on the 24th
It
of
does.
December.
Yeah.
Now, we know that between Christmas and the New Year, sometimes it can feel like a bit of a dead zone.
It can.
There's not a lot going
Yeah.
on. But oh no, that's not happening here. Because on the 29th of December, Kay will be unveiling her top 5 yarns of 2020. The moment has come. It's your 5th year doing this.
Wow, is it really?
I know. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So tune in on the 29th for an extra special, rather long little delve into, because you show your top 5 yarns, plus a project that you've knitted with each of those yarns as well, which is marvellous. And you also, I think, you give some advice on ideal projects for each of those yarns too, which is great. Then on the 29th of December, for the first time ever, I shall join you. No, not the 29th of December. Try the 31st of December. I shall join you for the first time ever.
New Year's Eve?
On New Year's Eve.
Wow.
For a very special self-contained knitter. Yes, you can ring in the new year with me. No, I'm not broadcasting live at midnight.
Oh, no, don't do any of that.
But you can choose to watch the episode, which will come out on the 31st of December anytime you like. And then as we move into the new year, you are finishing off your review of the Holtzgarn yarn.
Yes.
You are doing a very special design diary, which I think comes out on the 7th of January, where you're delving deep into the inspirations and things behind the winter collection.
Yes.
And so much more. And then, of course, on the 8th, Kay and I return with the next episode of the Bakery Bear video show, where Kay will be sharing with us the first of her brand new series of My Favourite Colourways. So that, I think...
Oh, I'm still fiddling. I'm trying to get this off here now.
That, I think, is it. So, folks, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, everyone. What
Merry
a year.
Christmas.
What a year.
Yes. Goodbye, 2020.
Absolutely.
Hello, 2021. But
let's see the new year in style.
Absolutely. Have the merriest Christmas ever.
Have the best time, everyone.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you all so much.
Yes, have lots of lovely food.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely eat a bit too much.
Definitely.
Have some nice walks.
Plenty of walks, yes.
And if we don't see you before...
Maybe a little tipple.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we don't see you before, we'll see you on the 8th of January for more from the video show.
See you soon, everyone.
Thanks so much, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Sitting and knitting, it's Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern and get yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle while watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery bears. What's on your shelf or what's in your oven, or maybe a shawl you'll want to wear. So sit yourself right down and watch Dan and Kay, the